person
that.
who can't even speak and
I
can't
agree with
be
you, Sean.
intelligent, and you're all of a sudden having sex and a baby with her. That's just. Wow.
But it's also kind of just based upon Taylor's ego or Heston's ego that he wouldn't have want this in there anyway, just to show that he's virile.
Ugh,
Well,
gross.
there's that too.
So well, okay. So
when my wife told me she was pregnant, I walked up and down. And, I got my wife pregnant. Just talking to complete strangers, but
my penis works. Look at it. Everybody stare at my unit.
Were you with me that day? How'd you know I said that?
I was watching it when it happened. Come on, Todd. So I have pictures. I'll show you later.
So Cornelius Taylor says, "Where does this river lead?" Standing from one side of the ravine.
And do rivers have high tides? I did some research on that. I don't think rivers have high tides.
I don't think Nova's having one right now.
Do they say that it has a high tide?
Yeah, because
So, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you read the script.
So Cornelius says it empties into the sea some miles from here. That's where we'll find the digging place, giving us an indication that that may be why they've stopped and why they may be going down to the river, which is actually kind of interesting because you talk about them blasting the face to get the carts and things down there.
Yeah.
And were we supposed to assume that that's how they're getting down there too, is using that crevice?
Okay, so now I have a further problem with this script.
Cornelius, now you do?
Cornelius is the one leading us to, as you just quoted, the digging place.
Right.
The leader of the party should stop and go, hold up, and I'm holding up my fist like you've seen 1,000 times, or hold up a hand, whatever it is. We need to stop here, get off, leave the cart, and take the horses only. The digging place is down there. We've established that he doesn't take a ton of control, but at the same time, he's the one leading us to there's no explanation of where we're going, because without jumping ahead to the next minute, when we do get to it, there's no explanation of where we've gone.
Well,
it's just okay.
He said he's the leader of this expedition, and Zira says she wants to go to prove that they're not heretics for evidence. That was 2 minutes earlier,
and therefore, so we've established that. Why doesn't he take that level of? It's not even dominance. It's simply, this is where we are.
I've been here before.
If I take Sean somewhere, if I take you two guys in a car, and let's actually say Richard drives, and it's me and Sean, I give you the directions to where we're going. This is what we're doing. This is where we need to go. Cornelius doesn't even take that. He doesn't stop and say, we need to stop here. We need to leave this. We need to go. It's very, very odd. Because even with the chasm conversation, I don't understand entirely why they stop and why they talk there. It just makes no sense to me.
I will go back in and edit Siri's voice and giving them map directions.
However,
so often.
and speaking of what you're talking about with Cornelius, not what's going on here, if you'll read a little bit in the script further.
Taylor's voice isn't beyond that. It clearly says, "Don't know. You can't ride along the shore, although we had boats on the last expedition." Taylor, you've never told me why this region's called the Forbidden Zone.
This is what I'm getting to.
And I had that note too, because we finally understand what the Forbidden Zone is.
And this is lazy writing. And what do they say?
Cornelius says, no one really knows.
That's lazy writing.
It's an ancient taboo set forth in the sacred scrolls. The lawgiver pronounced the area deadly.
Okay.
All right. But this is the acid pit over here. Why's it called the acid pit? Nobody knows. Maybe because somebody fell in the acid pit at some point.
I agree. But I think that there's so many things in religious folklore that you can say no one knows where that comes from without reading it. And then they're not going to sit down and, well, hang on, Taylor. Opens up the ancient tablets and starts reading to
But
them.
let's go from our point of view. So let's go with the Jewish traditions. You don't eat pork. That's from 3,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's not that far ago. Taylor, I'm sorry, just banged my mic. Taylor has been from 1700s, 2,000 years ago to wherever he is now. They should have some sort of reason why they don't do something that's from a relatively short period of time ago.
I agree. So why do they call it the Forbidden Zone? Nobody
knows.
If it's asked of it, it would be better if Cornelius says, the stories tell us that this and this occurs if you go there.
Or
even you could have the same amount of the economy of storytelling, the same amount of words, say something like,
there were thousands of people who died here a millennia ago. We don't go back,
or people that go here never come back.
Or something.
You could say
simple,
something like that.
Just to say nobody knows is very lazy.
It is.
Well, Cornelius has already shown that his digging area is in the forbidden zone.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it might have been nicer of the scriptwriter to add a line in there for Cornelius just to kind of explain that no one really knows it's ancient taboo, but I've discovered, evidence of the missing link.
Yeah.
But at this point, up to this point, it's just something that's been set forth. He could have had a different line that just could have made it sound like that he himself wasn't that stupid.
Well, and once again, are we in the forbidden zone here? We've passed beyond.
Yeah,
passed.
I'm assuming we're in the forbidden zone.
So they've said with Dead Lake.
Yeah.
And in the forbidden zone, no vegetation grows there. Yet they're standing in an area that has shrubs everywhere, green shrubs at that.
Of course,
an odd choice.
And a river that may or may not be poisonous.
A river that runs through it.
A river that runs through. But I mean,
that was for you, Sean.
That's my heavy side for you.
So and beyond that, he doesn't know what's beyond this area. He doesn't. Right. He knows the river.
Mm-hmm.
He knows it's the region is called the Forbidden Zone.
Which that is the Colorado River, if you didn't know that.
Was that right?
I didn't know that. I thought they would have been in California somehow. So.
It says Colorado River. Apparently, Colorado River runs through Utah.
I understand a river runs through it.
Hey.
All right, so
twice we get to mention one of my
most important question.
He lets us know that he can't. You can't ride along the shore too far at high tide, because they had no boats for the last expedition. So we know that they have boats.
Oh, is that where your high tide comment came in?
Yeah, I mean it was. They're talking about rivers having high tides. I didn't know rivers had high tides. I thought oceans had high tides. I didn't think rivers and lakes had high tides. And
well, they also call it Dead Lake, and they call it a sea as well.
High tide,
so
high tide.
It almost sounds like high tide, doesn't
it? High tide.
I mean, they call it a sea at some point, and they call it Dead Lake. So I think this is kind of general. They're getting their.
But let's get into the important part. Let's quit talking about the lakes and ocean. Who is the lawgiver?
Is that the first mention of the lawgiver we have?
Yes, it happens.
Outside of the crazy menus at the first of the...
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the lawgiver menu. Would you like to listen to 10 minutes of this lawgiver speech every time you watch the DVD?
So they haven't mentioned lawgiver yet?
No. This is the first time in the lawgiver.
I don't doubt that, because I was listening for a long time, because when we started this, to make sure that, that Sean and I had the same versions of the film, I said, do you have the weird little animated lawgiver at first? And he went...
That's what you see on your DVD.
Right, yeah.
And he said, yeah, because I was off getting a drink in the other room, and it scared the crap out of me that something started talking. And I really don't think they talk too much about the lawgiver. Now, you see his statue in the background.
Well, did we talk about that when we talked?
I'm assuming that's what's in the funeral
Yes, it is.
scene.
Okay.
And I think I referred to as...
Did we dance around that? I don't remember.
I think I referred to as a lawgiver.
It was in the script.
But I don't know that they ever call it the lawgiver.
Look, that was like last year, so I don't remember that. So
I will tell you that you will get more lawgiver as we go along. That's all I'll warn you about.
Well, not much more, because the movie's not that much longer.
Well, there are other movies, Sean.
Oh,
apparently Tim Burton's film is 2 hours of the lawgiver talking.
Welcome, lawgivers.
So no one really knows.
I am Peter Houston.
That would be better. That'd be John Houston.
And I will have my son, John Houston. Oh, wait, no, I'm John Houston. I'll have my son, Peter Houston, take care of it after this.
No one really knows. It's an ancient taboo set forth in the sacred scrolls. The lawgiver pronounced it airy deadly. And then Taylor just kind of drops it. Like, there's no
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Nephew says...
Wait, are there more women over here?
Nephew says, shouldn't we moving on? And Taylor says, I'm all for that.
Is that how they refer to him, as nephew?
No, I'm just...
now because we don't know is Lucius, you're calling him nephew.
I swear they called him Lucius.
No, I don't
think
next
they do either.
minute or it's next week.
I know by the end of the film they do, because I can think of the moment, and there's a comment about him and what age he is.
It happens either...
Oh, well, there's a... Yeah. Well, yeah.
Seriously, guys, it's either next minute or next
No, it's
week.
not next minute, it's next week.
It's next week.
Yeah,
no, it's next week.
Because I do remember making notes.
So we're talking about next week or next minute, so does that mean we're done with this minute, Richard?
Wait, hang on. For savages and unintelligent things, Nova knows how to ride a horse like a champ. I'll tell you that.
Well, you know what? She mounts it up. And she also doesn't ride side saddle like Zara. I swear to you, if you could zoom in, she's riding side saddle. I kept thinking, why is she riding weird? And I thought, she's riding side saddle.
All right.
Yeah,
apparently apes do that.
So this minute would technically end with that conversation where Zira confirms to Taylor or reveals to Taylor, whichever that
Okay.
Nova is pregnant.
Well, not in our version of the movie.
I mean, if you made that movie today, she's definitely
Yeah, I guess
pregnant.
we're talking about this whole thing that she's pregnant, but she's not pregnant. So
especially if you're
so
going
what's
months,
the point of
if Taylor's in prison for months with a breeder? Let's be quite honest. They've given him a female just to make him complacent.
Right.
Of course he's going to have sex with her at some point, unless he's either
Because he's Taylor.
gay or not a monster. So none of us would have sex with Nova because we're not gay or monsters. Wait, you're gay. You're not a monster. You're not a monster, and I'm a monster.
I think that's it for this
All
minute.
right, that's it for this minute. Yeah.
Okay, that's minute 89 of the books. I'm going to say what we say every day. Go to minuteoftheapes.com. Check out everything. Find our social media. Find our email. Find whatever you want. Go to Twitter. Talk to us there. Let us know that you're watching. Rate us. Review us. But listen. Tell your friends about us. I'm Todd. For Richard and Sean, thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
The minute of the apes. The minute